I had an interesting discussion with Joanna Ponicka from Equivest Invest earlier this week, and she's an exploration geologist, by the way. She's working in the oil and gas industry right now. Just pretty impressive background overall. So here's a clip that I wanted to share on here, in which she talked to me. She walked me through her top three picks right now, with one oil explorer and two uranium explorers. But obviously, I'd encourage you to watch or listen to the full conversation that I had with her. I'll have it linked somewhere around here. As in there, we talked about a lot about geology, but also how to pick those explorers for yourself instead of relying on videos as this one, which, as you obviously know, you really shouldn't. So, although biased, I'd recommend visiting the full podcast. It was quite interesting. So, yeah. Anyways, let's watch the clip. You're very picky, which is good. I mean, you have to be. What are the chances of a success? They're not really high generally, so you have to be picky. Is there a company or maybe a few companies out there that fit all of those criteria of yours right now, or do you sometimes have to make compromises?
I think it's like what we have is a score basically, so you get score. So it's very rarely that you see a company that sort of goes green on absolutely everything. There is such companies, so that's positive. I like Eco Atlantic. One thing is I've never seen an explorer with this kind of portfolio. I think it's really impressive what they did over the years. Basically having positioned themselves in the three hottest oil basins in the world. And interesting thing is actually the company that was acquired by Eco Atlantic just a month ago called Asnam was on my radar for 8 years. It was a private company. And I really like their acreage. Very early mover. So that's another thing. This company is an early mover into the basins basically. So they do have the acreage that is, not sort of like moving in late and picking up scraps. It's picking some of the best parts of the acreage basically. And I think still trading at 100 million market cap, which is extremely low. And I think I posted today on Twitter, a lot of people invested in the oil explorers and sort of sitting and waiting for the time that the major will farm into their acreage to kind of tick the box, like this is good acreage. Eco Atlantic has a partner, Total in Guyana, Exxon in Guyana, and also Africa Oil in Namibia, where they are in South Africa as well. Which is a Lundin Group backed company. So it's like, if you ask me, you can get the stake backed by majors easily here for 100 million market cap. And there's quite aggressive drilling campaign starting in Q3 of this year. I like to position myself early in those plays. What you often find, there just comes a trigger and this place can run sort of 100 to 100% in a very short period of time. And I normally position early, so I can also de-risk a little bit the portfolio for actually drilling of the well. So this is what I'm looking at, and drilling starts in Q3 with the Gazania in South Africa. Gazania is actually 3 stacked prospects with already well-tested oil down dip. So in oil industry called missed pay. So this is something that you already have good signs that there's oil in the structure. And you're just basically going up dip and testing for sort of accumulation above the oil water contact.
Now, they used to be.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but because you mentioned they're $100 million market cap, and that's the thing that I sort of focus on. But they used to be, if I'm not mistaken, there was a sharp spike right before the 2020 crash, about a year before that actually. So, and they went up to almost $500 million or above in market cap. And they are already sort of edging up about 30% this year or something along those lines. But do you think they're ever going back in that ballpark of 500 million? Is that possible?
Yeah, at least what I see normally, this kind of place, they end up at anything between 300, 500 market cap pre-drill. So for instance, I was in the CGX Cava, this year, started there. Now it's last year, 2022 right now. And I think this one we also entered early, and you kind of sit through it and you're like, okay, I maybe should put money into something else. And then boom, 1 week it just ran 280% in 1 week because everybody was waiting until the end to get in. and then it just got extremely crowded. So it was a really good opportunity to de-risk before the spot, basically, or investment. And, I kind of call it in the oil industry, we do a carry where somebody farms in and funds your well. This is in a way also like a carry, you just get in early and de-risk your position pre-spot, basically.
Okay. That's I know too little of the oil industry to discuss that. That's why I immediately jumped to the market cap. Okay, what's next? I know you have some uranium picks for me too.
Yeah. So Baselode and 92 Energy is actually one of my early picks. So those that followed me on Twitter early on, I think we recommended this one in beginning of September, just before the discoveries. So this one, like for me, already had a very nice run. I know a lot of people has it on the radar, and when you look at the performance of the uranium explorers, this is so far the only junior that actually is delivering and is moving more aggressively with the drilling program. I think it's still a bit early to say about if this has a major size potential. I think some people think it does. I have my probability distribution and moving alongside with that. But so far, these are the best results, and I think it'll be really interesting to get the assays for the most recent results. 92 Energy and Baselode, basically pretty much the same size of mineralization that they drilled so far, more or less the same thicknesses and the scelenometer cans. So very comparable projects. And one is listed on Australian Stock Exchange, the other one is on TSX. And again, this is, I know some people are like, oh, I already missed the boat. But I often enter projects at this stage because you're already starting to get results. The market caps are still low. And, it's not always safe to chase those 100 baggers. Maybe it's better to go for something that has more safer risk profile and still quite a lot of potential to run, basically. So the picks that I have here, I'm trying to sort of give the ones that have less downside and more upside, basically, in terms of risk profiles.
Yeah, I think it's just really valuable for people to hear these things from someone who's a professional in the field like yourself, because I can find myself in that category of people who are like sort of looking at it and like, maybe I'm too late because, I'm really tempted to buy it at a $10 million market cap and ride it all the way to $1 billion. That's what we all want, right? But if you buy the $10 million market cap, it's not much than a company with a CEO who has a dream. Even if you like the people, as I do tend to fall in love with teams, he only has a dream and a land package, but you don't know what's really in there until they start hitting it. And sure, the stock price is going to start going up, but so is the probability of success. And so it comes down to the risk reward, right? That's what it comes down to. Yeah, look at the up.
And I think if you can balance your portfolio with a couple of this more like, where the floor to go down is already capped and you still have 5 or 10 times potential, it's really good. You can also put more money on the table because you have more confidence that you're not going to necessarily be going down to zero, right?
Exactly.
So I really like this sort of more asymmetric opportunities. And actually, both Baselode and 92 Energy, this was amazing setup in September because 92 Energy was the first one to hit the discovery just on the border. And you had, I think, 2 weeks where you could still buy the Baselode share price quite low. And they already announced that they're drilling just across the border, basically. So I was just like, okay, pretty high probability. Let's add more. So kind of looking for those more asymmetric opportunities where your probability is high and the upside is still also high. It keeps your portfolio happy.
Keeps your portfolio happy. Yeah, it keeps me happy. What is it? What do you think Baselode has in front of them? Because that's a company that I'm hearing a lot about. I have some shares of them. It wasn't my first pick in the exploration category, but what do you think is next for them?
I think it's basically drilling out this resource, like seeing how much and what grades we're seeing there, basically. It's still difficult to say how far this deposits extend, but it's very encouraging that, companies are now drilling I don't know, 600 meters apart, and they are still hitting mineralization, right? So it tells you that it's an extensive system. But the main question is like, can they find something, you know, of arrow thickness and grade? That's sort of what we're still waiting for.
Yeah, everybody's looking for that, right? And then sort of it could become of something as a curse of the company after they found it, as what we're seeing with next gen is like, how long is it going to take? They're always like 5 years up from development. Even 5 years ago they were 5 years, and now they're so what about some of the other companies that are up there that I don't see on your list? Because you say you don't have too many explorers, but do you, something like Canalaska, for example, is one of my bigger holdings. Is that something you've looked into?
Yeah, I think I looked at Canalaska as well. They looked interesting, but yeah, again, it's a 10 companies portfolio. So these are the two that made it there. So these are actually the only two I have in Athabasca Basin.
Oh, okay. And are those the only two uranium companies you have in there?
No, I do also have Elevate Uranium. I kind of like, you know, again, nice floor because it does have resource that is quite undervalued in the share price. And again, there is quite a lot of exploration going on in Namibia right now on the project. So there is a big exploration upside. So again, it's just like, you know, looking for this place that there's a big upside and you are sort of having a good floor. You're not going to be dropping down. So this one is also in my basket.
I also like the sort of free positivity that Elevate could get if Bannerman develops their asset, you know, flawlessly as we all hope that they would, because it's going to get a lot more attention over at Namibia, and I think it's gonna. I like to believe that Elevate is undervalued based on the jurisdiction that they're at, because I think a lot of people misunderstand Namibia. But if Namibia gets a bit of a good marketing by Bannerman doing good stuff, which they are on track on doing, I think that's also a good one to have. Okay, so what else in terms of companies? Is there something that I'm missing that you want to talk about?
I think this is a general good summary, basically.
Okay, then on your again, if you want to watch or listen to the full conversation, simply click, I guess, over here, whatever, or the link in the description below this video. It is completely free. There's no registration, no ad breaks, no nothing. So just if you want to watch it, it's right over here.